Yo, what's up? I'm here in the beautiful Shasta area at the base of Mount Shasta itself, as you can see just behind me. Here to talk to you today about the negatives of the identitarian mindset and the negatives of the politics of it. Right after this. So some of the big issues are just when you get into an identitarian group that gets progressively more and more rigid, it is exactly that. That is the exact problem, is that it becomes so rigid that you lose your ability to individuate yourself. You lose your ability to navigate the world in the way that you might want to. Individual voice, innovation, innovative thought, new ideas may or may not be accepted. And if the group has rules that are so rigid and can't be broken in any way, shape, or form, you run into an issue where you can't even bring them up. So it stagnates. It stagnates discussion. You'll even see this in groups that are looking to shut down the discussion. For example, I don't think the Nazis were open to discuss the humanity of the Jews, for example. That platform was primarily, we are this, we are going to create the superior race, and the Jews are not that. They're in power. Let's take them out. It's amazing. The parallels that we're seeing in 2020 and sort of just as a general mass scale, and what we see in most dictatorships, actually. Basically, the dictator says, I agree, or I want this kind of person and I don't want this kind of person, and let's eliminate those kind of people throughout history, modern history, and I would say even ancient history, though I need to brush up on that a little bit. But ultimately identitarian tribalism, which is what ends up happening, often can move into shaming. You'll find that some of these groups will shame the sides that aren't like them into being like them, or maybe even just limiting and ending them anyway, which is a problem. Now, obviously, the shaming and guilting is not something that you want to propagate into the world, and definitely if you are trying to bring people into your movement, which I would think the goal of any movement ought to be to grow and get everybody to agree with you. Well, one of the hardest ways to make that happen is to create cuts and divisions and say, this is my box and this is your box and this is how we don't do this. Now, that's not to say I'm against boundaries, right? We have properties, we have boundaries, we have states, we have borders, things like that. But from a group standpoint, ideally you want everyone on your side, and one of the best ways to do that is to be inclusive and sort of figure out how to get those people to integrate, as opposed to this is me, this is you, and you're done. Because you push someone hard enough, if you push another group hard enough, they'll come back. Maybe it won't be directly, maybe it'll be indirectly, but either way, doesn't bode well for either party. And I believe that both tribalism and sort of identitarian politics are kind of the cause, and the human ego, of course, are kind of the cause of all wars. But anyway, so those are just some of the negative things about the identitarian politics that you see throughout history, and I believe are resurfacing today in 2020. So I just thought I'd bring those things up to you. Enjoy the beautiful drone shots, and I'll see you next time.